Yes, guys, welcome back to the debate show where we're going to do our top 10 footballers of all time. Today I'm joined from Ant. How you doing, Ant?
Yeah, I'm Sam, mate. I'm a bit worried, but I'm going to get absolutely slated for my list because it's not the 10 players that I think. There's the obvious go-tos that are in here, but I think I've got some outside the box players that I've always really liked, but I'm not 100% sure that everyone else will agree with me, particularly on a Liverpool channel.
Nah, you're all right. You're all right. You're a friend of the channel here. You're good. And the legend that is Ram. Ram, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. It was a bit of a thing that I have to do, but I'm excited to hear what you guys think of my list, and I'm excited to hear your list as well. Like, it's
Sweet.
gonna be a good discussion. Good discussion.
It certainly is, guys. So this is how it's going to work. So all three of us have got our 10 best players that we've ever seen play. So unless you're 60 something years old and you've watched Pele, he can't be in any one of our lists. That is a fact, even for me. No, I'm old. So it's the top 10 players you've ever seen play. So everyone in the chat, if there are players in there you think, why are they in your top 10? It's their top 10. It's who they've seen play and who they regard as the best of all time. We're going to go through one at a time. So I'll say my 10th, and to say his 10th, Fran will say his 10th, and we'll carry going in on that order. After we've done our top 10, a bit of debating and all that, we'll then go into the ultimate top 10, try and merge it all together. And also we'll talk about the likes of your Pelés and your Eusebios and your Socrates and all the legends of the game as well. But obviously they're not in our lists because none of us are old enough. Let's face it. So let's get down to this. But before we do, guys, don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you've not. And I'll be putting links in for Ant and Ram's channel as well as we go through this video. So make sure you subscribe to him. If there's any mods in the house, please, obviously, mods, put in Ant and Ram's YouTube in the live chat. I would appreciate that. But big up to everyone. I hope you're doing well. I'm going to take it easy, all the Leicester boys.
No, mate, he's just got elite football knowledge.
I know these are all the Leicester boys. Big up, Stephen. How you doing, man? Big up. How you doing, BLE? How you doing? I hope everyone's doing good. Big up, Noah, Diogo, Aaron. How you, my friend Gary? Intro is fire. Yeah, I do like a headbanging intro. Big up, Ravi. How you doing, my man? Stephen in the house. Chris, how you doing? Daz. Ryan, how you doing, man? Indian Scouser in the house. How you doing? 6 times. G, if you're free, you're more than welcome to come onto the video if you've got a top 10 list, or if you can just make it up on the fly, you're good. But if you are free, I know you got your kid and all that, but if you are free, you're more than welcome. Hassan, how you doing, my man? I have got G's list low. He did send me it, so I will read G's out on the air as well. But if you can make it, you're more than welcome. So, guys, we're going to kick this off. So, top 10 footballers you've seen in your lifetime ever. I'm going to go first. So, my number 10, well, if you're a Liverpool fan, you can't argue this. So, my number 10 of top 10 footballers I've ever seen play in my lifetime is the number 8, the legendary captain himself, Steven George Gerrard. Is my number 10 in the top 10 players I've ever seen play in my lifetime. Don't know what you think about that, guys. Ram, is it in your top 10 at all? No.
You know what? He, in terms of overall all-time greats, top 30 for me.
Top 100%. Still good. Top 30 still good.
But I just think there's so many other great players out there. I think, well, he was an incredible player. Probably the most all-round, one of the most all-round players that this game has ever seen. But did he show that talent as much as the other players that I've got on my list have? What was it down to? Is it his fault? Maybe not. Was it the kind of players that he had around him, the managers that he had around him? maybe if they were a little bit better or they understood how he was, it would have been a different conversation about his career entirely. But talent wise, I think he is one of the most talented players England's ever produced. But I can't put him in number 10. I can't. There's so many other great players out there I think deserve to be in top 10, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Right, let's go to Ant. Ant, you're number 10.
Well, this is one that I think that I'm going to be unpopular with. Roy Keane. I think he's the best Premier League captain that there's been, in my opinion. I think he's underrated in terms of his ability on the ball because he's got that aggressive side, and I love that in a player. And I think like when you see a player that, because I played as a number 6 when I used to play football, and when you see players that are like that top level in the positions that you play, I think like you sort of take to them a little bit more and you notice them a bit more.
Yep.
But for me, Roy Keane, he was like the complete package. He was like aggressive, like commanded that midfield, but he could also play football as well. Like a lot of people forget this. He was still a very good footballer on the ball. And then brilliant leader as well. And you look for, I think there'll be throughout this list, there's going to be a lot of players that you look at those iconic moments and those iconic matches. When you look for Roy Keane, you look at that semi-final in Turin against Juventus where he was like instrumental for United going through to the final. For me, I think he's absolutely absolutely criminally underrated. And the fact that he's still regarded so highly and I still think he's underrated shows sort of what I think of him.
No, that's a good choice. Look, as I say, guys, this is everyone's top 10 they've seen play in their lifetime. So, guys, if you don't agree with everyone's thing in the chat, it's not a problem. But, Roy Keane is for Ant. No worries. Ram, you're number 10.
So my pick is a bit of a curveball pick. I'm going for Alessandro Del Piero.
Ooh, nice.
So
nice.
I watched him more or less near the twilight of his career. Not twilight because he's still that guy, but maybe like the last year of his peak / getting towards the twilight of his career. And that guy, what a player. I loved the way he played football. Always played with a guy next to him. Most notably would have been David Trezeguet, was one of his main partners. And obviously Zlatan when he was at Juventus. But all the time he'd drift off to the left and then cuts inside that right foot and just bangs it top bins. That's for me, he was that guy for Juventus. He's arguably Mr. Juventus. The guy stayed with them when they got relegated, rightly so for their misdealings, but stayed loyal to them. And his last season for Juventus, he ended up winning Serie A, which is like a nice note on what was an illustrious career for him, not only for club football, but also for international football as well. Given the fact that he was culpable for that Euro 2000 chance that he missed that costed Italy in the end. But for me, Del Piero, I think, underrated player, but also quality player at the same time.
No, there's nothing wrong. That's a great pick. As long as you've seen them playing in your lifetime, Diogo, they can be retired now, yeah. I mean, Stevie's retired and he's in my top 10. So as long as you've seen them play in your lifetime, that is quality. So my number 9 is also Del Piero. He's my number 9. Now, the reason I picked, he's my second favourite ever Italian footballer. When I used to watch the Champions League, I used to watch it in my mum and dad's back room with my dad. We had a TV on top of the dishwasher that never got used. And so just a made-up TV stand in our back room. And that's where we used to watch Champions League football on ITV back in the day on a Tuesday or Wednesday night. And I always remember watching Del Piero for Juventus and that and thinking what a player he was. In his 20s, he was skillful. He was excellent on the ball. He had the whole package at that time. He was always meant to be the next big star. He probably never went on to really maybe be that superstar of a footballer that he maybe should have been. A bit like Totti and players like that. But for me, he's one of the greats. And
Is
yeah,
it because of his loyalty?
I think so. I mean, Totti's definitely his loyalty to Roma. I mean, Totti. There was a period in time where Totti could have probably gone anywhere he wanted. But Del Piero's he was just quite similar as well. But no, Del Piero, fantastic footballer. And yeah, he's my number 9. So I've got Steven Gerrard 10, Del Piero 9. And your number 9?
Number 9, Gareth Bale. I think for me, like, he's coming to the twilight of his career now, and I don't think there's too many people who doubt this. By the way, I've got a massive bias on Gareth Bale. I'm half Welsh, so I absolutely love him. But the fact that, like, the amount of clutch moments he's had, scoring in Champions League finals and like big moments he's had, I would argue he's the best player, British-born player to go abroad. In what he's achieved at Real Madrid, I think he's never really given fair treatment by the Spanish media. But what he's achieved there, the moments that he's had, he's been absolutely brilliant. And he dragged he dragged a Wales team to a semi-final of the Euros. Like, I know some people like a semi-final of the Euros won't be a big deal, but for Wales, that is absolutely massive when we haven't qualified for a tournament for how long. But that is absolutely massive, and the ability that man had, absolutely ridiculous. And he was this close to being let go of Spurs to go to Birmingham City. So, like, how different it could have been for him.
No, it's a great shout. Gareth Bale's a great shout. You know, Gareth Bale, he's won everything in the game at every club he's been at but Spurs. Even one, what's the team he's playing for now? Is it an LA team?
LAFC.
Yeah, and they just won a trophy, didn't he? So he's lit up everywhere but Spurs. He's won something.
Spursy, isn't it?
Yeah, that is a real thing, man. But yeah, that's a great shout. Gareth Bale's a tremendous footballer. Ram?
For me, number 9. He used to wear the number 9 for Barcelona, and that is the Cannibal Suarez. I think people look at him differently because of his how do you say it? His controversy, shall I say? The biting 3 times. I don't know. No, it was 3 times. The racism, the diving, and everything. The handball as well, giving his World Cup times. You have to mention that. But as a player, I don't think anyone can talk about how bad a player he was, because he was absolutely phenomenal. He showed the promise when he was at Ajax, when he won the Eredivisie, and I think he scored about 30 goals in about 30 appearances, something along the lines of that, something stupid like that. Came to Liverpool. In terms of trophies wise, a little bit of an underwhelming period, but the one shining thing he had was that 2013-14 season where he contributed about almost 50 goals that season alone, without playing 6 games. I think he was tied at the time for the record number of goals in a Premier League season with Cristiano Ronaldo. So I give him the credit, but then when he went to Barcelona, the accolades came running along. First season, won a treble. No, I think he won the Sextuple, didn't he? He won Copa del Rey, Super Copa. He's won everything at Barcelona. And not only was he booted out of Barcelona, went to Atletico Madrid, ended up winning the La Liga for them as well. So if you talk about longevity and you talk about the quality, he has all that. People thought he was done after Barcelona, came back and won the La Liga for Atletico Madrid. And I'll always say this, probably one of the most talented strikers we've seen since Ronaldo, the phenomenon, in my opinion. And people will look at him differently if he wasn't a scumbag on the pitch, and arguably, I mean, I don't know about off the pitch, but arguably on the pitch, if he wasn't a scumbag, I think people will look at him a lot differently. If he had a little bit of Messi in him, a little bit of like humility, a little bit of a nice guy on the pitch, then people will rate him highly. But because of what he's done, people look at him a little bit sideways, and I completely understand, because some of the stuff that he did was unforgivable, in my opinion. But player-wise, phenomenal player, in my opinion.
No, I agree, man. I agree. That's a great shout. Some great shouts so far. Yeah, everyone in the chat, you're doing. Hope you're all good. Hope you're all good. Hope you're all good. Panos put his whole team in there. Ronaldinho, Maradona, Jimmy Greaves, George Best, Pele, Messi, Ronaldo. That's our 9 Ronaldo. Johan Cruyff, Kelly Dalglish, Luis Suarez. Big up Panos. So, like, it's what I'm saying. Age is a thing, man. This is why I wanted to do this because, you know, Panos got, I know Panos age, so he's got players in there he would have seen play. So this is what I'm saying. When we all talk about debates who the best player of all time is and all that, I do think it, you know, age comes into it. Age comes into it. This is why I started this debate because I'll just tell everyone now, like Ronaldo, CR7 is not in my top 10. And when I said that, people went mad and said, how can that be? How can that be? And I went, oh, I'm a certain age. I've seen other players who I think's personally better. And he's just not in my team. My number 9. So my number 9 is Juventus legend Pavel Nedved. I love Pavel Nedved. He was great. Again, it's just one of them things that I used to watch him in the Champions League, European Cups, and all that with Juventus and Lazio. I remember watching Channel 4 football, Italian Channel 4 football, and it was at Lazio and stuff, and then going to Juventus. He went to Juventus for 45 million euros in 2001. I mean, that's a lot of money back then in 2001, and yeah, he was a tremendous player. Ballon d'Or winner as well in 2003. 4-time Footballer of the Year, 3 times in Czech Republic, once in Italy. Yeah, he's 3 times champions of Europe, 3-time champions of Italy, with Lazio and 2 with Juventus. He won the Super Cup, 2 Italian Cups, on some Czech championships, 4 times Italian Super Cup winner. I just love the player. I love the player. He plays right or left side of a midfield, you know, in traditional 4-4-2. And also looked like Patrick Swayze. So that's another reason. I just loved Pavel Nedved. I thought he was a quality footballer. That again, I was just watching European football back then heavily, and you know, falling in love with these players I was watching, like your Pavel Nedveds and you know, and Del Piero's before him in my list. I just thought they were quality. So that's my 3 so far. So my number 10 is Stevie. My number 9 is Del Piero. My number 8 is Pavel Nedved. And your number 8?
My number 8, again, probably the worst player I could probably say on the Liverpool channel, being an Everton fan and a Man United legend, Wayne Rooney. I think
right.
the way that he broke through on the scene at Everton was it's like nothing that I'd ever seen before. And I was young at the time, but like when you start taking notice of players when you're about 6 or 7 that are playing for other clubs that you sort of have nothing to do with. And bear in mind at the time, Leicester were in the Championship, I believe. So I had nothing to do with the Premier League at that time. And I was still taking note of like this kid's something special. And then like you see what he goes on to achieve. And I still think he underachieved like with England, if I'm completely honest. I know he's got the record goal scorers and all of that, but he was scoring against Moldova and Albania every other week in like friendly matches. So I know it's a great achievement, but it's like when you look into it into more detail, it's not all of that. But when you look at how good he was when he broke through at Everton and those early years of United, he was brilliant. And I think Rooney gets tainted with a little bit of what Ram was saying about Suarez, not to the same level, but like what he's like off the pitch with like him scrapping Phil Barnsley and like the nightclub stuff and all of the bits with like his misses off the pitch. Which is always for me like in this debate show that's irrelevant because it's about what they were on the pitch, and for me on the pitch he was just so aggressive as a striker, like absolute like I love that aggression as a player. And there's going to be a bit of obviously that's been a theme with Roy Keane. I love that aggression in the player. Is like his technical ability was incredible. So the fact that he could like the fact that he could be a playmaker, the fact that he was a goal scorer as well. He was absolutely everything. But I think the reason his legacy is not looked on as highly is he ran himself into the ground like early on in his career, and by the time he'd reached 30, 31, he was finished. He was not the player that he was before. And I think that Rooney's the two big points against Rooney is the fact that his international career and the fact that his prime was so much shorter than a lot of the players on this list.
Oh, Rooney's a shit. Look, it might be a Liverpool channel, that, but you can rate players, man. Wayne Rooney was a fantastic footballer. There's no doubt about it. You know, breaking Bobby Charlton's record at Man United, England top goal scorer. All that's going to be taken by Kane when he, stat pads against Iran and all that again in the World Cup, and then don't turn up when it matters. But that's another story. Yeah, it's just Wayne Rooney's a tremendous footballer. I'm not going to get away from that. That's a great shot. He is a great player. Ram?
I'm going to stick to the Italian theme with you, Jamie. Well, even though he didn't really play, he didn't play the majority of his career in Italy. But I'm going to go for Clarence Seedorf as number 8. Perfect number for him because he was a number 8. All-round player for me. He was aggressive, but had class at the same time. I don't think many players had that in them, where they were so physically dominant on the field, but also had this aura of class around them when they had the ball at their feet. And this guy was that. I'm gonna make a little bit of a not a snide comment, but unpopular comment. I don't rate registas. I don't rate them at all because, in my opinion, I think you need to cater to a lot of what they have to do in order for them to shine. And this is going to be a little bit of a segue. I don't think Pirlo was the best midfielder in that team. I think Clarence Seedorf was a level above him in that period for AC Milan. Pirlo, fantastic player, but Seedorf, what he had to do for him to shine as a player, Seedorf was the bulldog, but also the classy midfielder that was get things going for AC Milan, and will pop up in the big moments. We're talking Champions League semi-final against Manchester United to get them to the Champions League final, which they ended up winning. Those sort of levels, and I think Seedorf as a player, well, I think he's arguably underrated. I mean, they didn't do a lot for the Netherlands, sadly, but given the circumstances and the situation that they had to play against the likes of Brazil with Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, and all those players, and you got Argentina, and you got Germany as well. It was a difficult feat, and obviously Italy at the same time. It was a difficult feat, but club career, no one could talk to this man. Went to all 3 big team leagues in Spain, Italy, and I can't remember the other one. Spain, Italy, and if I am mistaken, it was. If you want to count it as a big league, then you could count the Dutch league. But then again, at that period, they had some pretty decent teams. Obviously, Feyenoord was still a decent team at that time. Won pretty much everything for each country he's been at. So for me, Clarence Seedorf for me as number 8, fittingly.
Well, that's a shout. Another great footballer. There's just so many great footballers to pick. Frank Rijkaard is probably the best Dutch player I've seen in my lifetime. That's another great footballer. Yeah, there's so many great footballers. It's just good to hearing all these players and why you liked them as well. That's what I like about this. So my number 7 is the reason I probably support Liverpool Football Club, and that is John Barnes. Now, when I was a kid, when I was a nipper, I used to sit in front with my dad. Football weren't on telly when I was a kid because football was sort of like almost banned because of hooliganism in England. So that is, and all around the world is fact as well. And that is why if anyone's watched World Cup 1990s documentary, if you haven't, go and watch it. World Cup 90 saved football. It's a fact. It just saved the sport. The football weren't being televised. When I got to around my age, I'm 41. So when I was 9 or 10, I was like watching football with my dad, and the odd game would be on the big match. It used to be called the big match, and it'd be on ITV every Saturday and Sunday. It'd be a 3 p.m. kickoff, and most of the time it was Liverpool because Liverpool were the top team in England at that time, and I was sitting there with my dad. But Dad's a massive Liverpool fan, huge, and that's another reason why I support Liverpool. But I was watching them with him, and that's the only team I'd watch because that's the team he supported. So I was watching Liverpool all the time. And then I saw John Barnes play. And I can tell you, I don't think to this day I've still seen a left winger move like John Barnes on the football pitch. I mean, if people haven't seen John Barnes, YouTube him in from 88 to 1990, different. He was probably the best left winger in the world at the time. He was just different class. He would glide on the pitch. He would go round people with ease, and I mean ease. His free kicks. He scored free kicks like they were nothing. Like he'd set up a free kick and just bend it around the wall and put it in the goal like he's just having a walk in the park. It was effortless for him. Absolutely effortless. And yeah, I love John Barnes. He's my number 7. And look, his first division record. So we all talk about wingers scoring goals today, like your Manes and your Salahs and stuff like that, and we commend them for the goals they get. Well, John Barnes played left wing in a 4-4-2, all right? John Barnes played left wing in a 4-4-2, right? On horrible, scuffed up pitches, most of the time more mud than grass. He got 73 goals in 198 games in the first division as a left winger playing 4-4-2. Ridiculous. He scored 20 goals a season from left wing in a 4-4-2. It's an incredible stat. 127 goals in all in 516 appearances in England. He went on a bit too long, unfortunately, into the Premier League. Probably should have retired a little bit earlier. But for me, an absolute legend. The reason I support the club, John Barnes is my number 7. And
I was going to say Barnes is obviously a bit before my time, but even when you look at sort of like what he's done, it's incredible. But for me, my number 7 is, I would say, the best Premier League player of all time, and that's Thierry Henry. The way that he used to like glide past players, he made stuff that is incredibly difficult look like it was absolute effortless. Him and Bergkamp together, absolute, just like ridiculous. He had pace, power, technical elegance, goal scoring ability, like that, like natural killer instinct in front of goal. And the thing is with Henry, correct me if I'm wrong, because it was my earlier years starting to get into football, but he started out as a left wing, didn't he, when he signed from Juventus?
Juventus, he was a left winger. He came to Arsenal as a left winger as well, and then it was Wenger eventually put him up front.
Yeah, and it's like, obviously the Invincibles, he was a huge, huge part of that. The second biggest Premier League achievement to ever happen, behind 5,000 to 1. No bias there at all. But
this is the biggest achievement ever. But the Invincible thing, let's throw that in the bin. It's garbage. It don't mean shit.
That's it. But then the fact, like, the only thing I think you could criticise him for his time at Arsenal is the fact he didn't win the Champions League, and his finals goal, like, he wasn't really that present in their final. But then he goes to Barcelona and he carries on like performing, and he wins Champions League there. So for me, he's one of those players that, like, even you take away their numbers, and I think that numbers have almost ruined football to a certain extent because everyone's so concerned with like XG and XA and whatever it might be, it's like assists or whatever the numbers might be. He's one of those players. Yes, he's got all the numbers in the world, but he was just a joy to watch as well.
Nah, man, look, Henry's legendary, no doubt about it. Ram?
Whilst you lot talking about elegant plays gliding through with the ball, I picked a goalkeeper as my number 7.
Sweet.
I've gone for someone who he's still playing the game. Hope he gets well soon. He's got a nasty knee injury. I think he's ruled out for the World Cup as well. I've gone for Manuel Neuer. The reason behind this is because he has properly revolutionized the style of goalkeeping.
So
fully revolutionized. I mean, if there's chapters on goalkeeping, there is going to be one big chapter on him, because when I first saw him, 2010, when he was playing with Schalke, and when he was playing at Germany, I was like, what a keeper! Like, what a keeper, especially at his age. He's going to be a special talent. And then around about 2012 to 2014, he was arguably, well, not arguably, he was the undisputed best goalkeeper in the world. Like, literally nobody would get the ball past him. And even to an extent, he was that good that I think it was against Manchester United where I think Danny Welbeck was running through on goal. And the commentator said, "You must be really stupid thinking you could chip Manuel Neuer." That presence and that aura he had around him during that period goes to show how good that guy was. Like, nobody could get the ball past him. And the sweeper keeper, everyone talks about keepers being able to sweep the ball, all down to him. No other goalkeeper, arguably in the history of the game. I mean, I can't say definitively. There obviously might be a goalkeeper that had done it, but not well recognized. But his ability on the ball with at his feet, his handling, his athleticism, and his overall game was unmatched compared to anybody. Even Prime De Gea, I'm sorry, I'm taking Prime Manuel Neuer over him every day of the week and a month on Sundays. He was that good. And he is, for me, top 3 goalkeepers of all time. When he retires, he'll be top 3 goalkeepers of all time. That's why I've got him as my number 7 greatest ever player that I've ever seen.
Wow. I mean, look, that's a shout. I haven't got a goalkeeper in my top 10, Ant. I don't know about you, but
no, I had Buffon written as, like, you know, when you're making sort of your list of some names on it. Because for me, Buffon was that one that I thought, like, he was like the GOAT of goalkeepers for me, and like that longevity of, like, what did he break through at Parma? Was it 18 or something like that? So ridiculously young, and he's like only just he's still going, isn't he, at Parma now? He's gone back, actually. He hasn't retired. I don't know if he's at number 1, but for me, I would say Buffon. I completely get the point Ram is making, and Manuel Neuer is right up there. And the way that he's I agree with the fact he's revolutionised the position in terms of the sweeper keeper. There's been keepers before. I forget the man's name, the Colombian keeper who used to come out quite a lot, and it was it was like a little bit of a nut case. But then, like, you even look at like the likes of Schmeichel. He, like, obviously Peter Schmeichel. I love Kasper Schmeichel, but he's not quite on that level. But with Peter Schmeichel as well, you look at him, and he, like, what he achieved at United. He was always, like, I wouldn't say a sweeper keeper, but he was always very much on the front foot as a, like, off his line as well. So I completely agree. And it's one of these things. It's an opinions list. You can't be wrong, which is what I love about this. Yeah. But for me, I would put Buffon and Schmeichel over Neuer. But again, it's just
there's no wrong answer, as you say. There is no wrong answer. It's just there's so many legendary keepers. Buffon, I mean, Buffon, the original cat, really, ain't he? You know, can go from one post to the other, you know, at a blink of an eye. Then Neuer pretty much, you know, was the generational sweeper keeper everyone's copied. You know, he's also massive. You can't chip the geezer, like you say. And he was
for me, my top 5 greatest goalkeepers are Buffon, in no particular order: Buffon, Neuer, Schmeichel, Casillas, and Kahn. I would have put Kahn ahead of Neuer, but I didn't watch Kahn that much. I was like, no, I can't cheat like that.
I think Oliver Kahn finished runner-up for a Ballon d'Or once, didn't he? If I remember right.
I think he won Golden Ball in 2002.
Yeah. He's the highest rated ever goalkeeper. Yeah, he's like, Oliver Kahn was legendary as well. No doubt about it. Got to say, got to give a mention to Brucey Grobler, who you know, he didn't mind coming out with the ball with his feet and stuff like that either. And he was he was a true nutter, though, wasn't he? We need him to go and piss on the goalposts again, though. That's what we do need him to do.
I just think for what he did for football and the fact that people like to talk about revolutionizing, he has definitively revolutionized the way we look at goalkeepers, in my opinion. So you have to give extra credit for that. I'm afraid for me, you got to give extra credit for that.
No, that's a great show.
He was, but he was. People have a right to say he was mad at times. Some of the stuff that he did was kind of stupid, but you know how they say genius. Normally, when you see a genius, they always come up with their incredibly stupid ideas. But it is what it is.
Yeah, definitely. So it was your number 7. That's a great shout. Goalkeeper. That's gutsy, man. Big up. So now my number 6 is Thierry Henry. Premier League's best ever player, probably for me. Not the greatest ever goal scorer, that's Alan Shearer, but that's why this debate's happening. You know, everyone's going to me, Ronaldo's the world holder of goals and all that. So Henry's the best player ever in the Premier League. He's not the leading goal scorer. Henry's quality. We got to remember this kid, like when he played at Monaco, you know, I mean, there's a photo of him. I think there's a photo of Henry when he's like 16 at Monaco with a full moustache. It's mad. And, you know, he's a young player with a lot of prospect, goes to Juventus. They use him as a winger because of his pace. It just don't work for him in Italian football. Arsene Wenger picks him up. No one really knew about him, especially back then in the 90s, because, you know, internet is not what it is now, obviously, and people weren't doing their research and keeping tabs of players. But comes in the Premier League, first season, not great. Henry started the first season syndrome thing off. This is where it all comes from. When everyone goes, give him a year and it'll be fine. It all comes from Henry. Had that awful first season. Then I think it all kicked off with that flick volley against Man United, didn't it? I think that's where it all kicked off his career. And then from there, Wenger put him in the forward areas alongside Dennis Bergkamp. And yeah, he was just class. He glided on the pitch. You know, when he was running, it reminds me of the way Federer moves on court. You know, when you watch Federer move on court for tennis, it's like his feet ain't on the floor. He just glides across the pitch. And Henry was like that. Just glided when he was running, you know, and no one could catch him. You know, no one's seen speed like that. That pace was unreal. His athleticism, the goals he scored. Yeah. Henry's my number 6. I've got to have him in there, man. I've got to have him in there. There's not many better forwards I've seen play in the game of football than Thierry Henry. Yeah. So yeah, he's my number 6. And
yeah, you can't argue with Henry. My number 6 is a player that probably a lot of people don't actually rate that highly, but for me, it's more of a sentimental thing as well. Is the fact it was the first football shirt that I ever had. Is Kaká at number 6, and like, what a player! Just like the way that like he moved with the ball, it was so natural and it was so easy. And I think we alluded to it earlier on in the stream of those. You look at those iconic games for players where, like, that are career defining. That was it a semi-final, quarter-final against Man United, where he absolutely tore them a new one, and it's like, oh, he's just just absolute like beautiful player to watch. And again, I don't really know what his numbers were, but I just know that how like it's just. As I say, it's a sentimental thing. I've got the Kaká shirt, and like as I say, like we have these players, but we all look at with sort of like tinted rose glasses. And don't get me wrong, he was an absolutely incredible footballer. But I think for me, I've put him as highly as I have because of that sentimental value as well.
Yeah, I mean, he broke the world record for transfers for about half an hour once, didn't he? And then they bought Ronaldo the same year, didn't they?
So to be fair, though, Harry Maguire broke the record for a defender. I don't think it means a huge amount.
Yeah. Funny thing about that United game, that is arguably one of the games that made me fall in love with the game. Because at the time, I have never seen someone go to Old Trafford. Obviously, Ronaldo did it in 2003, but I was a kid, so I didn't watch that. But that was the first time I ever saw someone in United's dominant period go to Old Trafford and make it its playground. That's the first time I've ever seen someone do that. I think it was that goal where he took it on his feet, got around. Was it Heinze? No, not Heinze. It was Brown. Then headed it across and made Patrice Evra run into Rio Ferdinand and just tucked it away. That just that cemented my little love for him. He was an incredible player. I really did love him as a player. It's a shame that the injuries ruined him, but yeah, he was incredible, an incredible footballer.
And this is true. Kaká was the last player to win the Ballon d'Or before Ronaldo and Messi started sharing it as well. He was amazing, absolutely amazing. Ram, your number 6, is it?
My number 6 is another bit of a curveball. I think it might be the last curve. No, actually, that might be the second last curveball I'll have of my top 10. I've gone for Mr. World Cup winner for Germany, captain of Germany as well, Philipp Lahm.
Ooh, sure.
I think he has a record, a very ridiculous record for a defender. He's never got a red card in his career, which makes no sense given the fact of the type of defender that he was.
Yeah.
But on the ball, incredible. Defensively, arguably the best defensive right back I've ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Better than Cafu, better than better than Zambrotta. I think he was immense, but also what he can do going forward is also incredibly underrated.
Yeah.
If anyone remembers 2006 World Cup, that I think it was the first game of the World Cup. It was it Japan? If I'm not mistaken, Japan or South Korea. He took it on the left-hand side, went down the line, cut inside, and smacked it from 30 yards out. And he was like, I'm here, people. I'm here to stake my claim as the best right back or best fullback in the world. And what he did for Bayern Munich, serving for Bayern Munich, has been there his whole career, and then ends up winning the Champions League for them in not his final season, but near the end of his career. So, yeah, stalwart for German football and Bayern Munich itself, Mr. Philipp Lahm, and that is my number 6.
That's a shout. Yeah, Philipp Lahm, extremely underrated. I don't think he's one of them players, the appeal, like everyone will go for goal scorers and stuff like that. But Philipp Lahm at right back, and then he was so good he could go play defensive midfield as well. He was a tremendous talent. The art of defending, I think the art of defending goes missed.
That's
the art
it.
of defending nowadays goes missed.
He was as well. He was like as good as a player as he was a proper leader as well, which I think is something again. But we've, like you said there, Jamie, we've all got attacking players here, really, and like the defenders sort of don't get the headlines. But he was so crucial to the success and that Bayern and Germany had. The thing is with Philipp Lahm as well is he bowed out in the best possible way after winning the World Cup. Like,
oh yeah,
on the top of the mountain to bow out. Like, it'd be interesting to do this, like as a potential future or even off camera, as like if we just did it as the best sort of defensive players as well, because as we say, these are very attacking lists.
Mm-hmm.
But I think also, as seen in 2018, that Germany defense it's not the same. I feel a lot of that defensive solidity that they had in 2014 was because of Philipp Lahm, his leadership, his organization skills, and his demand of Jerome Boateng, Hummels, and Hervedez. His demand for them to play at that level and continue that level until the very end of the World Cup. I think that doesn't get spoken enough. And you saw it in 2018 because that defense was a shambles. It was more or less the same, barring probably Kimmich was more on the right than Hervedez. And obviously Jonas Hector was there. But no organization from that part. And I think he was a big part in why they were so defensively dominant as well.
No, it's a great shot. It's a great shot. So my number 5 is also, he's been a defender. He's been a sweeper. He's also been a little go at attacking midfield as well. The greatest German that ever lived, Lothar Matthäus.
Oi, Jamie, that's my GOAT midfielder. That's my greatest ever midfielder.
Lothar Matthäus. I love this guy when I watched him play. I watched this guy play sweeper one half, kept a clean sheet, and then a midfielder got injured. I can't remember who it was now, and he went and played central midfield, and they still won the game without conceding. This man is unbelievable. Unbelievable. My favourite ever German player. As I say, he played sweeper, man. The sweeper, no one plays sweeper anymore because it's what goalkeepers do. But, he could play sweeper, midfield and defensive midfield, and he had an actual go playing behind a striker a couple of times before.
He could play
Little man, what is he, about 5'7", 5'8"? Not the biggest, not the most intimidating midfielder, but my God, he was good. He was just so good. He went from Borussia Mönchengladbach to Bayern Munich in 1984 for 1.2 million. Now, that might not sound amazing today, but in 1984, that's a lot of money. 1.2 million in 1984 from Borussia Mönchengladbach to Bayern Munich. So Bayern Munich, even back in the 80s, were buying all the best German players. Every other German team, knocking them all, sweeping them all up. Yeah, he had a great career, obviously, at Bayern Munich till 1988, where he went to Inter Milan, then left Inter Milan in 1992, went back to Bayern Munich for 2 million. And then he was at Bayern Munich all the way to the year 2000. This man had a career, And then he finished at Metro Stars. Does everyone remember Metro Stars?
I'm looking at
team.
You're about 22 years as old for us.
Before the MLS became, like, they redone it as the MLS and all that, and you had all these different all American teams, and basically it's where retired players used to go. And yeah, he had a year. If you've not seen it, there's a famous interview that Lothar Matthäus does when he signed for Metro Stars. Has anyone seen that when he's trying to speak English?
No.
Yeah. It's a great interview. If you can find it, it's on YouTube. It's a great interview.
He can't speak English though.
He can now, but back then in 2001, his whole career was in Germany and Italy, so he didn't obviously need to. And it was so broken. And he's trying. It's a good interview. It's a good interview.
Oh, yeah.
Press conference. It was brilliant that Inter scored over 20 goals in one season. Yeah, as a midfielder in Italy, back in the 90s when it was impossible to score against teams.
Mm.
The man's again just great. Watching him in World Cups when World Cups used to be. World Cups used to be the mecca when I was a kid because, like, back then, even the guys like older than me in the chat will know even better than me. But when you watched the World Cup, it was the only time you saw all the best players in the world at one time, on your TV set, But now, obviously, with the Champions League and how big it is, you can watch every single game at one time and see all the big stars all the time. So World Cups don't feel that big as they used to. But back then, when I was a kid watching Lothar Matthäus play for West Germany, I mean, that's when I was watching football. The wall was still up, you know what I mean? And then playing for Germany as well. And, it was just about, and his long distance shooting, could tackle. Genius.
Do you know what the best word to describe Matthäus? He was Gerrard on drugs.
He was, wasn't he? He was.
I haven't seen him play, but like you hear what he's done. Like that's my dad's greatest ever midfielder.
Oh,
that's his.
Yeah.
He loved Italian football and he was just all round incredible. Like you talk about Steven Gerrard and everyone says he was built in a lab, and if you want to make an all round player that's 8 in everything, you got Steven Gerrard.
Mm.
If he wants to make a player that was 10 in everything, that was Lothar Matthäus.
It was just
pace, power, shooting, passing, dribbling, defending, everything he was world class at.
Yeah.
That's why he's my GOAT, man. That's why he's my GOAT.
Yeah, everyone forgets he was quick. Everyone forgets he was quick. Yeah, I'm going to say it right now. When the Champions League was on ITV, it was better. I don't care what anyone says. He was better. He was far, far better.
Especially with Clyde Telsley as the commentator.
Yeah. It was so much better. So that's my number 5. So I'm getting into dangerous territory now, where everyone's going to be going, so where's this player? Where's that player? So, and your number 5?
I think for me, number 5, Ronaldinho. What a player!
Yeah.
Like, I've said it about a couple of players, but what that man could do with a football is like, it was just incredible. Like, and the thing is, he would beat players like they weren't in front of him, but it weren't just like pointless skills. It led to stuff, and I think that's the difference with him. Like, with a lot of these fair players that we talk about, is like, he would take the piss out of someone, but it wouldn't just be for the sake of taking the piss out of someone. It would then lead to something. And the thing is, he would put someone on his ass and then still be laughing about it and like always smiling, which like everyone says about Son now playing with a smile on his face and those kind of players. Ronaldinho like was always just happy with what he's doing, and like some of the goals that he scored were just absolutely outrageous, and the natural ability of that man was unbelievable. I think there's only one player I'd argue who'd got more natural ability with a football than him ever. So for me, I had to get Dino in there somewhere high up the list. But I think the fact as well that he could play through the middle, he could play off the left, he could play off the right, and he would pop up everywhere, just taking the piss out of people, was just brilliant.
That's a shout, man. Ronaldinho, absolute gangster as well. Ram, your number 5?
I mean, I'm not going to say much more as what Ant said, because I've got Ronaldinho as number 5 as well.
There you go.
Like, I think I said this to someone. I think it might have been Neeks. I said it to Neeks, and I think it was about Ramos. And I was like, you know what? I give credit to Ramos for coming back from what Ronaldinho did to him, because Ronaldinho absolutely destroyed him.
Yeah, embarrassed him.
I never seen anyone take the piss out of another player as much as Ronaldinho did to Ramos in that El Clasico at the Bernabeu. Like, it was incredible. So that just speaks volumes. Like, Ramos is not no mug defender, and Ronaldinho decided to almost end his career. But yeah, Ronaldinho, that goal against England, people say it was a fluke. I guarantee you 100% he meant it. The big giveaway was his celebration, because he was like, I told you he's gonna get out of his line, and I knew it was gonna happen. He definitely meant it, and that just shows how good that guy was. I wish he could hold it on for more longer, because then it'll be a proper conversation about him being one of the greatest ever players of all time. Like, with your Pelés, arguably R9s, and then Maradonas. But what can I say? He just didn't have that desire like he did before. It is what it is.
No, I mean, that's a lot of Brazilians, though. A lot of Brazilians do go, they don't play on till their late 30s, do they? They get to 31, 32 and think, I'm going to be a gangster now. I've done my life. You know what I mean? Just, they like to party in that. I love it. I wish I was Brazilian. So my number 4, here we go. Remember, I'm a bit older. So it should actually be a debate. My number 4 is Roberto Baggio.
That's a shout. That is a shout.
The best technical Italian footballer I think I've ever seen anyway. There probably is better, but he's the best I've ever seen. Look, he was everything. Absolutely everything. Every kid on my playground wanted to do the Baggio 7. Does everyone remember the Baggio 7? When you have to do the keep you ups, left foot, right knee, left knee, shoulder, head.
Oh, yeah.
The Baggio 7. Everyone wanted to do that on the playground when you was a kid. He was an idol. He was also like the first footballer, like really that caught attention of like the magazines and the things like that. He was a good-looking guy, obviously being Italian. He had that ponytailed in. He wore good clothes. Yeah, the man was just amazing. Obviously, he still gets remembered for the miss in the '94 World Cup final with the, penalty over the crossbar, unfortunately, because the World Cup 1994 was built as his World Cup. That, if everyone remembers it, I didn't particularly like the World Cup 1994. It did. I don't know. It was too bright. Because it was in America and in LA and all that, and World Cup final. It's like the sun was still beating down. It was midnight here, but it was like 4 PM there, and the sun was beating down, and it's like, this don't look right. But no,
man,
it should be dark, man. But it was built as his World Cup, and him missing the penalty in the final made me cry, man. But yeah, he was the first superstar footballer, apart from John Barnes, that I really saw as a kid. I mean, especially I got a little bit older when, especially around that 92, 94 period when I started secondary school. That's when everyone was talking about, Roberto Baggio doing the Baggio 7. Did you see Baggio? When the Panini stickers come out, the shiny Baggio sticker was like the one to have. Yeah, it was just amazing. He was amazing. He's my favourite Italian footballer. The documentary, has anyone seen the documentary on him? Blinding documentary. Absolutely amazing documentary. Go and see it, man. Yeah, but he's that's why I'm a bit lucky being my age. I like G saying he's never seen him like. Yeah, he was great, man. He was great. Yeah, Diana Ross ruining in the opening ceremony. Jesus Christ, does everyone remember that? When she missed the penalty in an open goal, and they had to just blow up the goal because it. Yeah, Roberto Baggio is my number 4, and your 4.
My 4th. I wanted to put him higher, but it's so hard to do it. Zinedine Zidane. Just again, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but what an outrageous player! Just like he just made stuff happen. Like the way the ball glued to his feet, and the years that I saw him, I think it was again towards the back end of his career. When you look back and watch him, and like the goal in that. Is it the 2004, 2003 Champions League final against Bayer Leverkusen? Just out like that volley.
Standing volley.
Yeah, like it's just absolute. Like as I said, these players, they've all got their iconic moments. Like we talked about Roy Keane having that Juventus semi, that Gareth Bale with the Champions League finals. You look at Henry, there's countless for him, and I think that moment from Zidane is just so defining of everything that he is, in terms of like just pure technical excellence, making something that is like a 1 in 1,000 shot or look absolutely effortless.
No, man, I mean, Zidane is just legendary. Yeah, that standing volley against Bayer Leverkusen, winning the Champions League that year, people have tried to attempt that since, and no one has, because you know how hard it is to balance on your leg like that. Your full body weight going towards the ball. Unreal skill. Ram, your number 4?
My number 4 is Andres Iniesta.
Great midfielder.
Arguably Spain's greatest ever midfielder. Most notably for that goal in 2010 World Cup, took it down on his chest and half volleyed it into the back of the net to win Spain's first ever World Cup. And he was just a magician. He's an artist, a magician, and everything. He was just so good. And I was so happy I could see him play live. I would say, though, he's not my GOAT midfielder, but he is definitely top 2. Top 2 midfielders for me.
You got Iniesta over Xavi?
So top three. Top 3.
You got Iniesta over Xavi?
Yeah. I've got Iniesta over Xavi. I think Iniesta's got a little bit more potency, shall I say, than Xavi. But both wonderful players. But I would just give it just to Andres Iniesta.
Yeah, just diamond. He was a diamond, man. It's a great choice. So we're coming down to the final 3 guys in the chat. So obviously there's some players I've not mentioned yet, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh, Jay, you guys surely mentioned them there, aren't you?" What is my wife ringing me for? Fuck off. Sorry about that. So my number 3 is the greatest midfielder, in my opinion, that I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes, and that is Zidane. For me, the greatest midfielder, Lothar Matthäus and Zidane, and Stevie. I'm going to put him up there in that company. But and he deserves to be in that company, to be fair. But yeah, Zidane was magic, man. He might have the best close control I've ever seen of anyone running with a football. There's an art of running with a football with pace that Zidane did. He's not the best at it because my number 1's better at him at it. But what Zidane did, the way he controlled games in midfield, he was... Look, I think he almost went to QPR once or something like that when he was at Bordeaux and they turned him down. Unbelievably. Excellent player. I mean, magical. Obviously, when he went to Juventus, it really kick-started his career. World Cup 1998. Look, World Cup 1998 was meant to be Ronaldo. It was meant to be R9's World Cup, you know. He went to 1994 World Cup R9 and everyone said, like, oh, is he going to be... It's like, he's going to be the next superstar. He didn't play in 1994 World Cup because Bebeto and Mario were playing and he was only a youngster, but he went to experience it and everyone knew about him. And in the 98 World Cup turned around, everyone's like, this is the man, you know, this is the man. Then obviously in that final, I still don't know what happened to this day. Everyone said he got food poisoning by the French and all that. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Or like anxiety kicked in or something like that and he couldn't compete and all that. I remember getting a team sheet and like everyone's seen the team sheet and Ronaldo's name's not on it in the final. Everyone's like, what the hell? And Zidane took that World Cup. He took that final. I think he got both goals. He was head and shoulders over everyone in the world. Yeah, and then obviously his move to Madrid just made him an even bigger superstar and legend. Yeah, Zinedine Zidane is my number 3 greatest I've ever seen play. And
I agree with everything you said about Zidane. What a player! But for me,
it was Blackburn, not QPR. Yeah, Trudon. Sorry. Yeah, it was Blackburn, not QPR. So
didn't they nearly sign Lewandowski as well?
Yeah, Blackburn turned down Zidane. Ram, have you heard this? So Blackburn in 1995 turned down Zidane because they said they got Tim Sherwood.
Yep. Yeah, I heard stories about that. I don't know how they came up with that, but
Yeah, Sherwood, they do need Zidane.
Yeah, they were so close to signing Lewandowski as well, weren't they, Blackburn? But it was the volcano with Iceland.
That's like, right. That's it.
Mad, isn't it? Like, how different it would have been.
So he just went to Germany instead because it was easier. From Poland to Germany, you just had to go across the border. That's mad, isn't it? Absolutely mad. So, Ant, your number 3?
My number 3, and this is one player that I've been blessed to see live, is R9 Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm repeating myself, but there's only so many ways you can describe like these players, and he was the ultimate striker. And it was alluded to earlier on in the stream about that semi-final at Old Trafford, where he just went there and took the absolute mick. And obviously, he had the World Cup with the iconic haircut, which was like the fact that it's still loved today, and like he could get away with it because of how good he was. Like imagine someone doing that now. If you weren't at that level, imagine like.
I reckon someone's going to do it this World Cup. I reckon one of the Brazilians are going to do it this World Cup.
It wouldn't surprise me if it was one of the English lads like Phil Foden or Jack.
Oh, like the Muppets. That don't.
It would. Like, I love both of them as players, but like the egos on both of them, it would not surprise me one bit if it was them. But no, it's just I got to see him live, and I don't remember this, but I've still got the ticket of it. You know, when the Walker Stadium opened, one of the first games was Brazil playing there. I believe it was Switzerland that they played. And I got to see him live. Don't remember a bit of the game, but you know, it's one of those like things that you can always say is, but to see R9 play live, just he's one of those. I don't think after the injury he was ever the same player, but he was still a top player, but he was never quite that player that he was before.
No, I mean, the injury did scupper a lot of what happened to R9, unfortunately. But my God, what a player he was! What a player! A lot of people called him the greatest centre forward striker of all time. I wouldn't argue against it either. I wouldn't argue against it. Ram, you're free, my friend.
Number 3 for me has got to be Lionel Messi. The most I won't say the most elegant, but
Did you just say number 3?
Sorry?
Did you just say number 3?
Yeah, number 3.
Oh, there's got to be arguments. Go on.
Look, Messi was an unbelievable talent, and whenever I saw him play, he was incredible. I think there are still a couple of players above him, but Messi, for me, in terms of what I've seen, I can't say anybody else, but Messi for me, number 3, from who I've seen, is the third best, greatest ever player I've seen, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Can't argue that. So my number, everyone's after you. My number 2. So my number 2, my second greatest ever player of all time that I have seen. This might shock some people. Because everyone's going to go, Jay, you've left this player out. What are you chatting about? My number 2 is Luis Suarez. For me, Luis Suarez is the greatest number 9 I've ever seen play. And this is, obviously, I was in a generation that I saw R9 play. And the only reason I have Suarez in front of R9 is because of longevity. Unfortunately for R9, his knee injuries really ruined everything. I think if R9 didn't have any knee injuries the way he did, any injuries like that, I think R9 would have broken every goal. I don't think Ronaldo and Messi would be close to him in goals. I think he would be out of sight. But because of his R9's injuries, and I just look at Suarez, the man. We talk about Henry, yeah. Henry was playing in the MLS when Luis Suarez, in his 30s, was top goal scorer in Spain. I just think we don't give. You said it earlier. I don't think we give Suarez enough. Ram, I think you said it as well. We don't give Suarez enough credit. Because of the incidents. Because the incidents he did. The racism, the biting. I think that's always going to muck up his legacy. But you look at his goals and assists. I think he's got like the third greatest assists of all time. I mean, it's just. And his goal scoring is up there with Messi and Ronaldo's of the last 10 years. He is just out of this world. And, we didn't have the electric pace of an Henry or the elegance of Henry. But my God, some of the best goals I've ever seen scored are from Luis Suarez. But yeah, the only reason he's above R9, because I know everyone's going off in the chat, the only reason is above R9 for me is the whole longevity of it all. Suarez was top goal scorer in Spain when he was 32, 33. That is, and Ronaldo started to fall apart, and that is my reason for Luis Suarez being number 2.
What you said there is so true though, about he would be rated so much higher if he was a more likable bloke. And I think the thing with it's like with John Terry. The first thing, you say John Terry's name, I think people don't think of a footballer first now. They think of what an absolute waste of space he is off the pitch. And there's so many players like that. Like if you look at their purely footballing standpoint alone, they'll be thought of in much higher regard. But because they come as they come as an overall package, that's why he's not regarded so highly. I'm just laughing at the chat, expecting me to say Gary Lineker at some point. I've just seen that. And it's like, how old do you lot think I
am? So you're number 2. You're number 2, Ant, the nitty gritty now.
I can't stand the bloke. I really, really can't stand him. But you've got to respect where it's due. And I know Jamie doesn't particularly rate him. For me, it's Cristiano Ronaldo. The way that he's like you've mentioned their longevity, the longevity of his career is outrageous. The way that he came through at Sporting, tore it up in Portugal, was signed off the back of, I believe it was off the back of a pre-season game, was it not? Sporting against United. Then came in with a as a like tricky left winger and had all of that side of the game. Brilliant left winger, like won the Ballon d'Or at United, went to Real Madrid, became the best ever goal scorer ever. I wouldn't say the best ever player because I know some people say that. I don't actually think as a player he was sort of that high, but just his goal scoring ability and the way that he's evolved his game is absolutely outrageous. But talking about Ronaldo, I just want to get your quick opinion on this Piers Morgan interview. For me, I think it's embarrassing as anything, Jamie.
Oh, what, Ronaldo? Oh, yeah. I mean, Ronaldo, he's a muppet. There's no doubt about it. But look, with the Ronaldo stuff on the Piers Morgan interview, there was some stuff I was like, yeah, he's got a point with, But there's some stuff you just don't. You don't do this after you've retired. You can't slag people off that are paying you wages. You can't go on national television. The problem I got with it is he picked Piers Morgan, right? Yeah. Because Piers Morgan's got worldwide acclaim. People know him in America. They know him here. He's got worldwide acclaim. Very good at interviewing people. I didn't think he interviewed Ronaldo, to be honest. I don't think he asked him anything. Everything was already like pre-planned. You can tell in Ronaldo's answers, they were all pre-planned because he didn't have to think about anything. It was all like bang, 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 bang. And in between takes, I swear Piers Morgan was noshing him off. No. I've never seen anything more disgusting in my life. It was horrible to watch.
The thing is
horrible.
The thing that I struggled with it is like there's a lot of stuff, as you say, that was good stuff in there. It was clearly scripted, and it's like if it was a proper journalist, not that absolute like scumbag of a man, that it would have been like pressing him, like saying like following up questions, but it was just like yes, Ronaldo. Yes, Cristiano, yes to Cristiano, and like didn't actually challenge him on anything. One thing I would say, and I know we're going off on a bit of a tangent, is he moans about the Glazers and facilities and all of that. You knew that a year ago when you went back to United when they're paying at you $500 a week. It's only an issue now because you're not getting your own way. But I've gone off on a tangent now. But Ronaldo for me, number 2, the way that he's adapted and evolved as a player, and the way that his goal scoring record is absolutely outrageous. Like, say what you want about him as an overall player, like his goal scoring record just speaks for itself.
Yeah, great. No doubt. Ram, you're number 2.
This is where I can say elegance. I'm happy to say that word. I'm going to say the last year I've cheated. I'm not going to lie, I've cheated. I've only seen him play quite a few times. The only game I remember him was that World Cup final in 2006, sadly. And that is Mr. Zinedine Zidane.
So you've seen him play, man. You've seen him play.
I've seen him play. I said to Jamie post 2005, so he still was there or thereabouts in Real Madrid. But for me, elegance, aggressiveness, and just pure class. Like, he was the number 10 that I think every person on this planet would have wanted in his team. Didn't have a lot of pace, but his intelligence and the way he moves the ball, it makes up for it. It makes up for it a lot. And clutch man, he's very much clutch. 98 World Cup, his brace that won them the World Cup. 2002 Champions League final. He is that guy. And for me, he goes in as number 2.
enough,
I'm
man.
guessing you're intrigued to hear what I'm going to say for number one.
Yeah. Because Ronaldo's number one. He's number one. I don't mind. But so some great show. I mean, it's been great. So my number one, look, for me, I believe he's the greatest of all time. If he doesn't win the World Cup this year, it doesn't bother me. If he wins it, like, it's done. We can put this debate to bed. But for me, Messi is the greatest footballer of all time. I don't care what anyone says. The reason I have him in front of Ronaldo, yeah, Messi does more on the pitch. It's as simple as that. Messi can play midfield. Ronaldo can't. I see Messi getting involved in making goals by picking up the ball in his own half, taking players on, passing off the ball, making runs to receive the ball back, playing 1-2s. Some of the greatest goals I've ever seen has come from Messi's left foot. He's more of a complete footballer than Ronaldo. I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's any debate about that. There can't be any debate. As an all-round footballer, Messi is just better. He can do more. He can do more on the pitch. Ronaldo right now, the last few years, is more of a centre forward, yeah? He's more of a centre forward. Now, everyone goes on about Ronaldo being the greatest goal scorer of all time, yeah? It's not exactly true. So, Ronaldo's club goal stats. So, Ronaldo has played 949 club games. So, this is just club games, not international football. So, club football, Ronaldo has played 949 games and got 701 goals, which is absolutely ridiculous, yeah? And 223 assists. Absolutely ridiculous. World-class, unbelievable stats. Messi has played 849 club games, exactly 100 club games less than Ronaldo. And guess what? He has 701 goals. So his goal-to-game ratio is better in club football than Ronaldo's. And Messi has 332 assists. That is just mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling. Yes, Ronaldo, I think, has over 100 goals for international football, but I think Messi has like 91. So it's like, and look, you know, there's not much in it. Messi's probably going to be the top goal scorer of all time when they both retire. And Ronaldo, I think, is a couple of years older than Messi, so he's been around a little bit longer. Messi just does more of a footballer. He's more complete. He's just more complete. I mean, Messi's played in front of farmers his whole life by his Man United fan. What's it matter what league you play in? By the way, when Messi plays against every top English club in Europe, he destroys them. So I don't know what that means. So let's forget about what leagues they play in, please, because a lot of people have Pele as the greatest of all time, and he never played in Europe. So that's just that's chill on where leagues and all that to play. And Messi grew up in the Spanish league that was better in the Premier League at one time as well. Let's not forget that. So yeah, Ronaldo is just great, but Messi is just more complete player. Like when I look at footballers, like I think Messi. I look at Benzema right now. Yeah, Benzema has had the best years of his life since Ronaldo fucked off, right? Because he doesn't have to be the supplier anymore. He can be the player he always wanted to be. He had to be the supplier for Ronaldo. This is my thing. I think Messi makes everyone around him better. I think everyone else around Ronaldo makes him better. And I think that's the difference. I think Ronaldo needs that love and everyone around him to make him the star so he can flourish. I think Messi makes everyone in their team better. Creates for him. He's a better creator. He does more in the game. Yeah, he's just an all-round better footballer. Pete, you can come with me with Ronaldo's goals, but if you think Ronaldo's an all-round better footballer, then I don't know what to tell you. But Messi, greatest of all time, my number one. And your number one?
So from Halifax Town to the Premier League champion. 11 in a row. No, I'm joking. I did nearly think I'd go Jamie Vardy, but I thought even for me, that is too shameless. But can I just say this is going to add to my number one is Lionel Messi, and it's going to add to a lot of what you've said there. And as much as like the Ronaldo, as you said, like brilliant player and all of that, with one point you said about the Messi can do it, but he elevates the players around him, and Ronaldo needs that supply. And I think particularly in the latter years of a career, that has been a big difference in them. I think that nothing backs that up more. I don't know if you've seen it from Bonucci or Chiellini's quotes when he left Juventus, where he said that as a team they suffered for having him in there, and like basically saying that they were glad to see the back of him. It's like, but with Lionel Messi, some of the goals that he's scored are absolute like, and I've said this about so many players, but like it's just like unhuman, like what he does with a football. The goal against Atletico Bilbao, where he's like in and out of 5 players, and then like beats the keeper, is just outrageous. But he's got like a whole catalogue of goals like that. And then you look at as well, like he's played in some of the best teams ever to have ever graced football, and he's been throughout whichever team that has been. He has been the main man in that team. Like you look at the Pep Guardiola Barcelona team, he was key to that. You look at MSN with Messi, Suarez, and Neymar. Again, he was like the best player in that. And I saw someone commenting about Neymar earlier as well, and I think you started.
He's not in any of our best top 10 so far. I don't know about Rand. Got one left, but
no, it's mad that, isn't it? And how talented of a player he is. But I try to avoid players that are still in their prime or though like that don't have still a lot of years left to give. And I think with Neymar, he still does. With Ronaldo and Messi, like as good as they are, we're looking at the end of their careers, or at least their careers rounding up.
You know, it's a mad thing about Messi right now. He's arguably one of the best players in the world right now as well. It's just mad, man. He's just different, man. And look, Messi's set pieces as well. He's arguably the best free kick taker I've ever seen. Yeah. I mean, it's just he can play the 10, the false 9. He made the false 9 a thing. Like Pep made. He's not a striker, but he plays in between the front two, and he's just that good. And yeah, Messi's just he's different, man. He just does everything on the football pitch, and he still is right now. And I think that's why Ronaldo's a little pissed off as well. I think Ronaldo is a little annoyed that Messi's still doing it and doing it at a high level. Personally, I think Ronaldo wants to join PSG. I think that's what all this is about. I think Ronaldo wants to go and play with Messi at Paris Saint-Germain. I think that's what all this is about. That's why he wants to leave Man United. Ram, you're number 1.
So, seeing as Jamie said Messi was number 1, my number 1 is Mr. Paolo Maldini.
Yeah.
And the reason why I went for him
defender ever
is because people starting to realize how hard it is to play at that level for such a long period of time, especially with Ronaldo, seeing as though he's no longer in the squad for Manchester United or even in the starting 11. So this guy played at the highest level until he was around about 41 years old, and still a stalwart for that AC Milan team that were successful. For me, he's won everything. I think he's won everything that he's ever can possibly win, except for Italy. But to be fair, 1994, him and Baresi were the main reason why they went to penalties, given the fact that Brazil decided to pepper them with their ability that they had on the ball. And penalties, he can't really do much about it because, one, he's not saving the penalties or he's not even taking one. So that's up to him. And 2000, look, a freak that happened. On the other side of the pitch, may I add, he had nothing to do. He can't do anything about it. He can't run across the entire pitch and leave his space open for another player to capitalize. So for me, Paolo Maldini, from the age of 16 to 41, played at the highest level.
Mad. He's the best he's my favourite defender, Paleo Maldini. I mean, playing centre back, then going to left back and making it look easy.
And he wasn't just a defensive left back. He can also push forward.
Yeah.
He was. I think if I'm not mistaken, he started as a winger when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And then
when
he got moved to left back.
Yeah.
And then
he went left back for a bit, and then he went real centre back.
Mm-hmm.
He played centre back with Maldini and Baresi. That might be the best centre back combination of all time. You know?
You talk about that Brazil team that would score goals against anyone. They couldn't get past him. They couldn't get past them.
No.
Shows how good he was, man. I'm sorry. For me, Maldini, number one. For me,
that's a great number one. I ain't arguing with it. At all. As soon as you saw put Messi in 3, I was like, hang on. But I'm happy with Maldini at 1. So, guys, that's our top 10s, guys. What we're going to do now, we're just going to do honourable mentions that people that just didn't make your top 10. And then we're going to try and put all this together into the ultimate top 10. So, my honourable mentions, because everyone's asking me in the chat, where's R9? So, I've seen it, and Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho was an entertainer. There's no doubt about it. But when I look at the entertainers in football as well, I think Baggio was the original entertainer. Maradona was an original entertainer. Messi, for me, is the greatest entertainer that ever lived. So Neymar does not get in my top 10. He doesn't even get an honourable mention. It's mad because Neymar's about to probably be Brazil's top ever goal scorer eventually. But then Giroud's going to be France's top goal scorer. Does that mean he's France's best ever player? Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't have Neymar above Rivaldo. I wouldn't have Neymar above Ronaldinho. I wouldn't have Neymar above R9. I wouldn't have Neymar above Romario. I wouldn't have Neymar above Bebeto. I wouldn't have Neymar above all them great Brazilians there. That I think he lacks something. There's something about Neymar that he lacks. I think Neymar tries to be too flashy. That's what I'm going to tell you right now. I think if Neymar was less flashy in his game, I think he'd actually be a better player. That's how mad that sounds. And yeah, so Ronaldinho and R9, and my other honourable mention that I never mentioned, but I think he was a tremendous midfielder, tremendous player, full round, Ruud Gullit. He was an absolute superstar. Your honourable mentions, Ant?
So for me, quick thing on Neymar before I get into him as well. Reason I didn't put Neymar, I said about still being an active player and not a player that's in his prime years at the moment. I think the big thing for me is he went away from Barca to get out of the shadow of Messi to only be in Messi's shadow again at PSG, which is why he wanted to be the main man. It didn't happen because to start with, Mbappe broke through, and then Mbappe was the big man at PSG. Now Messi is. I love Neymar, but I just think he's just in that caliber, just below. But for me, my honourable mentions, it's a difficult one because I didn't put any notes to this. So this is sort of off the top of my head. Player that I love, Steve Guppy, behave out.
Steve Guppy.
No, for me, Pirlo, and he's one of those players that, again, I'm probably missing out some really obvious names. Pirlo was just a player, but he never looked like he came out of first gear. And I can't even remember who said it, but it's just so true. Is that he used to look like he was just strolling around the midfield like a granddad in his slippers, just like absolute, just spraying passes left, right, and centre, and never really looked like he was trying that hard. But obviously he was, and he was just like the artist he was as a footballer. I feel mine's gone blank here.
So I'll throw you on the spot.
Yeah, just slightly, mate, just slightly. So we've got Pirlo. You know what? Lampard. I think Lampard for me, Lampard and Gerrard. So I'm proper sitting on the fence there of where I am on the Lampard-Gerrard debate. But what I'll say is Scholes isn't in it.
Oh, there you go. You're a friend of the channel now. Ram, any honourable mentions for yourself?
Yeah, I've got a few. I've got quite a few.
Go on then.
I've got Raul in there, Raul Gonzalez, Thierry Henry.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys mentioned him, but Raul for me, I think he was a record goal scorer for Champions League before Messi and Ronaldo came along.
The King of Spain, as he was
The
nicknamed.
King of Spain. I had Kaká in there. I had the three suspects goals, Gerrard, Lampard, obviously. I had Rooney in there. Also, a little shout out to Luka Modric as well.
Yeah, Modric.
He can be in the conversation.
Definitely.
In my opinion. So that's pretty much it. Oh, I had Buffon as well. I had Gigi Buffon in there. Had to.
Right. So what we're going to try and do now is do the out of all our top 10s, we're going to try and do the ultimate top 10 and debate it between us three. So number 10, who are we putting in number 10 in this ultimate top 10 out of our three teams? Who do you fancy in number 10, Ram? Ultimate top 10.
Ultimate top 10
out of our three teams.
I would go for Ronaldinho.
Ronaldinho 10. And you happy with that?
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Okay, Ronaldinho in 10. 9, Ant. Out of our three teams, who do you think should be in number 9?
I'm gonna stick with the order I actually put him in. I think Gareth Bale number 9.
Gareth Bale number 9. Ram, you happy with that, Ram? You happy with Bale in there?
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about Bale. Oh, do you have anyone else?
The thing is, this man saying Origi in the chat.
Who knows?
Should we go? Someone that we didn't even mention. Actually, looking at the chat, Dennis Bergkamp. How have we got an hour and a half in and not even mentioned Dennis Bergkamp? Like, we're not going to add him as an honourable mention. Wow, how did I?
Be an honourable mention, yeah.
How did I not even think of that? Right, Rooney then number 9. If you're...
Swap Rooney with Ronaldinho for sure.
So Rooney at 10, Ronaldinho at 9.
Yeah,
I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. Right, 8. Trying to think. I will probably go. I will shout out for number 8. Roberto Baggio.
You know what? I hear it. I really love Baggio. I like Baggio player.
And
10.5, as they say.
And you're happy with that?
Yeah, my thing with Baggio is I don't know enough about him to be able to put an honest argument.
I'll let you know everything. He's Let me just get this all up. So let me just write all this down. I'll get this sorted, and then we can I can put this online then, and everyone can laugh at us. While I'm doing this, does everyone actually think Twitter's going to go down?
No, it just seems like it's the biggest it's like just overreaction in it to people, to what's happened with Elon Musk and all of that.
Definitely, that's what I think. As well. Let me just no, I don't want that. Let me just try and get something up here. Right, let me get rid of that.
Well, am I seeing shouts in the chat for me saying Stevie Claridge and Danny Ward?
Stevie Claridge, Jesus Christ, Stevie Claridge. Didn't Stevie Claridge get 100 goals in his club career or something like that?
I think he did, yeah.
So, number 10, we have got Rooney, Wayne. Who did we say 9? Ronaldinho. And then 8 Baggio, yeah. Right, who are we going for next, guys? Number 7 in our top ever 10. What are we saying?
I think I really want to put Gareth Bale in here, but I know Ram's not having any of it. I think I'm going to say Gareth Bale again. I'm putting that card on the table again.
Right. Ram? I don't think Gareth Bale's going to make this.
It's just longevity. Longevity is it's big, and I know we put Ronaldinho in there, but Ronaldinho just changed everything.
Yeah, he changed football. Yeah.
He was just so good. He was just incredible. Like some of the stuff that he did was beyond everybody else's ability. Did Bale have that? I would say Bale was more of a Cristiano Ronaldo Mark II.
So think the players we've had. So I'd like we've had you and me, Ram. We've had Del Piero. I think I'd Lothar Matthäus. We've had Baggio.
Lothar Matthäus is going to be lower, like as in the lower numbers, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For sure, he's going there.
So number 7. Who are we saying? Who is what? Well, about Luis Suarez.
What about Philip Lahm?
Mate, if we're not having Bale, there's no way we're having Philip Lahm. I'm not being...
that is a good point. That is a good point.
But Lahm is a World Cup winner.
Mate, Gareth Bale took a Welsh team that hadn't qualified to a tournament to a semi-final.
Yeah, and that's probably for him as big as a thing as winning the World Cup, like because Wales will never go win it. So,
but yeah, you know, someone we haven't mentioned, I think at this stage we could do is Thierry Henry for this spot. Unless you want to put him slightly higher.
Yeah.
Henry at 7, I'm happy with that. I'm happy
Well,
with
actually,
that.
no. What about... No, we'll go ahead. Thierry Henry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Henry at 7. That's a good spot, to be fair.
Yeah.
So number 6. Number 6. So what are we saying for number 6? So we had Del Piero's. We've had
Iniesta.
Lothar Matthäus. Iniesta. Iniesta was quality. Iniesta was quite. I'm happy with Iniesta. And
I was going to say R9, but
I think he might go a bit higher.
He might go higher.
Yeah. I'm happy with Iniesta. Should we say Iniesta?
Yeah.
So we're getting to the top 5 now. Top 5, Ram. What are we saying? Serious stuff now.
Zinedine Zidane. No, sorry, not Zidane. Sorry, no. Lionel Messi. Sorry, not Lionel Messi. No.
You got him there.
Actually, you guys pick.
The surprise no one said Jason Cundy, said Ravi. So who was your top 10 again, Ant? Go through your top 10 again.
So Roy Keane, Gareth Bale, Bruno, Henry, Kaká, Ronaldinho, Zidane, R9, Ronaldo, Messi.
R9.
R9 in there?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. People are going to go mad that he's only 5th, but there you go. R9. 4th. This is where I think I can stick Lothar Matthäus in, man. Ram, you happy with Lothar Matthäus in 4th?
Can I push him up to number 3?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Right. I'll tell you what. Let's do number 1 first, and then we can work out everyone in between. So for me and I think we're all going Messi as 1, yeah?
Yeah.
Ram, you're going to be outvoted there. It's just the way it's going to be. So we go Messi as our first pick, number 1 pick. Then we got between R9 and Messi. Then you can have your picks then. So
number 2, can we have Maldini then?
All right. I'll give you that. I love Maldini as a kid and growing up, so I ain't got no problem. Look, people are going to be like, a defender that high? Like, Maldini was different, though. He was arguably the greatest defender everyone's seen in their lifetime. I mean, centre back, left back, different, absolutely different. And look, again, this is a list that our eyes. There's a reason there's no Pelés and all that in here because we never watched them play. So, okay, so we got Rooney 10, Ronaldinho 9, Baggio 8, Henry 7, Iniesta 6, R9 5. We got Messi first, Maldini second. All right, we need third and fourth.
We ain't got Zidane yet, have we?
Nope.
Zidane fourth, Mateus fourth, third. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. I'm sorry. For me, Mateus is GOAT midfielders.
Oh, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Don't get me wrong. I'm with you. He was he was different. He was he's the best. He was the best I've seen at what he did. I mean, he played sweeper. He played midfielder. He played defensive midfield. He was pace. Yeah, he was just absolute baller. Lothar Matthäus. There he is. No, I just want to get the spelling right because I always get Lothar mixed. There we go. There we go. Right. People are going to go mad at this, but there you go. Ooh. Let me just get this up so I can get the list up for everyone. So, guys, this is the best players we've seen in our lifetime, top 10. Not the greatest players of all time in everyone's eyes. You know what I mean? So, everyone be nice about it. So, Rooney 10, Ronaldinho 9, Baggio 8, Henry 7, Iniesta 6, R9 5, Zidane 4, Lothar Matthäus 3, Paleo Maldini, and then Messi. We have not got a certain CR7 in this team. And, oh my God, people go mad.
I don't know how you've managed to not... We've not managed to put him in the final one, but...
Ram, is there any space for R9 in that top 10? Do you take Rooney out of it, and we got to put him in?
Yeah.
I mean, look, I don't like Ronaldo, but I've got to say, for me, he's probably a better footballer than Rooney. So, yeah, let's change it up a little bit and put CR7 in there. Now, do we put him
CR7? I thought you meant R9.
R9's in there.
Oh, okay.
Now, where do we put CR7? Is he just 10 for the top 10?
I think 10. 10 still.
Yeah. I mean Rooney ain't in my top 10.
My thing is, I think he's got to be top 5 just purely because of what he's achieved and the longevity of him.
Yeah, I mean, longevity is a point. So, look, Messi's definitely one. Jesus Christ. So we got Messi 1, Maldini 2nd, Lothar Matthäus 3rd, Zidane 4th, R9 5th. And then you got Iniesta, Henry, Baggio, and CR7. Do anyone want to move anyone around?
I'd say Ronaldo goes above Iniesta.
Ram?
Mm-mm.
He's like, no,
not above Iniesta. I think Ronaldo's great where he is right now.
I don't know. It's like I don't know how he like. I think he's got to be top 5. I really do. And like, I had him as my number 2, and I know like you lot don't like him, but it's just like
his goals and longevity. You have to give him credit.
Yeah. And I think
no Ronaldinho. There is no Ronaldinho in his top 10. Does anyone want Ronaldinho? No, we have got Ronaldinho in his top 10, haven't we?
Yeah, thought we had.
Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh yeah, I missed him out. Right. I just deleted him by accident. No, Ron is in this. He is in this top 10. Don't worry, guys. CR7 So we've got Messi first, Maldini second, Lothar Matthäus third, Zidane fourth, R9 fifth, Iniesta sixth, Omri seventh, Roberto Baggio eighth, Ronaldinho ninth, CR7 10th. Top 10 best players we've ever seen. We've ever seen, guys. It might not be everyone's list. You might have Ronaldinho in your top 10, but personally for me, as a footballer, I think Lothar Matthäus and Paleo Maldini are better footballers for what they did in their positions than Ronaldo. It's all on. I mean, people in if you ask a serious, if you got I don't know, 100 26-year-olds all in one room, they would have hardly anyone on our list that's in the top 10, but they'd have Ronaldo and Messi as the 1 and 2. Yeah. That's the thing about it. Would they have a Roberto Baggio? Would they have a Zidane, a Lothar Matthäus, a Maldini? That's what I like about it. It's an age, age matters, man. Age matters, and yeah. We know says a defender can never be a better player than an attacking player, regardless of how good a defender you are. It's just a rule book. The better players are at the top of the pitch. Do you agree with that, Ram?
I mean,
you agree with that comment?
If someone's worked or someone's lived or played their entire career at defense because they love defending, would you put them down because you think an attacker's worth more? Yeah, attacker's worth more, but it's how good you are in that position and how dominant you are in that position. That's how I see it. If a guy is world class as a centre back and then he's just not, and he's done it for about 20 years, and then an attacker's good for only 10, 15 years, been world class for 10, 15 years, but his goals are worth more, it don't really stack up like that. I think it's, if you're good in that position, how good you are, that's how we rank it, in my opinion.
You could have R9 as your striker scoring. You could have R9 as your striker scoring 30 goals every season, best player in the world, yeah. But if you've got, I don't know, Kabak and Nat Phillips as your two centre backs, you're not going to win Premier Leagues, are you, or titles or Champions Leagues? So you do need. And look, I think Paleo Maldini is probably as good as a footballer as a lot of attackers there are in history. There's obviously the elite, but Maldini played left back and centre back like he belonged. And yeah. It's a thing we can do. There could be another show where we do top 10 defenders, top 10 midfielders, top 10 forwards, top 10 goalkeepers. That could be the next debate show we do, guys, going forward as well during this World Cup where we have off periods. Yeah, see, look, Liverpool had the best attack in 13, 14, lost the title because of a whack defence. You put Maldini in that defence, titles as. You know what I mean? You can have it. You can have it, Yeah, is CR7, is Cristiano Ronaldo a better footballer than Ronaldinho? Let's not talk about goals here. Technically a better footballer. Who is better, Ronaldinho or CR7?
Oh, as a technical player, Ronaldinho, but it's it's what bring to a team, isn't it? So it's so difficult, and I do think there's a bit. I'll be honest, there's a bit of a recency bias towards Ronaldo at the moment of how bad he's been this year, and and you look at last year, he wasn't about. Yes, he was United's top goal scorer, but he wasn't about elite level. So I think there might be a bit of recency bias with that. But Ronaldinho was a better technical footballer, but in terms of and I know you say you don't want to bring goals up, but it's like goals
in it. Yeah, goals count. I mean, it's the hardest thing to do in the world, isn't it?
They are, and I think with Ronaldo as well. Yes, he leaves everywhere he goes in an absolute state after he's left, but everywhere he's gone, he's been successful as well.
It's very true.
So It's one of those. We could be debating this for hours on it.
It's difficult, ain't it? I don't think there's a right and wrong answer. To be fair, football's all about opinion, ain't it? That doesn't mean the defender then becomes better in attack or Virgil at his peak is never a better footballer than Suarez. But we never won the league with Suarez up front. We won the league at Liverpool. Look, did we win the league at Liverpool when Mane and Salah were up front together the year before Virgil? I mean, Virgil came in with Alisson and we won the Premier League and Champions League. We've got to give it an equal footing. Do you know what I mean? I understand what you're saying. We know. Understand what you're saying. Attackers, they get more. You know, they're paid the most for a reason. I understand that, but you know, you need world-class defenders and goalkeepers to win things. Apart from Leicester, I don't think there's another team I can think of that didn't have a world-class defence. I mean, Leicester.
Disrespect to Wes Morgan.
I know, I'm going to have to be disrespectful, but Wes Morgan was shit. I don't know how you did it.
Wes Morgan wasn't shit. He was just never a top. He was a solid Premier League defender.
Yeah.
He was never anything more than that.
No,
but
I just don't know how you did it to this day. I just don't know how you did it to this day. It was just one of them amazing feats. What I always say about football, and this is why I said Arsenal win the Premier League, because momentum is massive, and Leicester's momentum week in, week out just kept going. They just kept going with this momentum all the time. Did they have the best 11 in the Premier League? No. But with that momentum going into games, when you feel you're untouchable, when you go onto the pitch, no matter what the players are, if all the players have that feeling and you keep going week in, week out, that's probably what Ranieri just did. In every change, everything was like, just keep going. Just do the same thing over and over again.
The thing is, that momentum didn't start at the start of the season. It started at the back end of the season before. See, Brian knows. Big Wes is a monster. But that momentum started from the season before, because about 28 games in, we were glued bottom of the Premier League table. And that's why it was called the Great Escape, because everyone had us odds on to go down, but we just started winning and winning and winning. And yes, we lost Cambiasso and replaced him with Kante, which what a masterstroke that was, by the way. I thought losing Cambiasso, when you're heading into a season, you think we are screwed for this. But that momentum carried on throughout the season. And yes, Nigel Pearson went and Claudio Ranieri came in. But Ranieri didn't change a lot. It just carried on with a lot of what Nigel Pearson had put in before, which is why that momentum was allowed just to keep going. And it's like you say, momentum is absolutely massive in football.
No doubt about it. So, guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you for everyone. Cambiasso, yeah, I can't believe you went there. I think, didn't you have what's his name? Italian coach.
Ranieri.
No, as your Matt player came in, played for
Mancini.
Yeah. I remember that. Leicester went for a period of buying these old veterans, didn't they?
This was what got us into the position under our own old ownership, where we had to be bailed out by Gary Lineker with administration buying players and just everyone with a big name sort of thing, big name Finnish player. So we were basically Everton before Everton became Everton.
No, I mean, look, you've won a league title, man. They're never going to do that.
Yeah.
You got that above them. But yeah, guys, thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you, Ant. Thank you to Ram for joining me, making it a good show. Thanks to everyone in the chats. Don't forget to go and support the guys. Ant, tell them where they can find you, mate.
Yeah, so Ant's Leicester fan channel. You can find me most days streaming, rambling about Leicester, moaning about Brendan Rodgers, and respecting Big Wes, the true icon of the game.
Ram, tell the world where they can find you, man.
Yeah, you can find me on the Football Terrace. I'm supporting Liverpool, hopefully come back and do what they're meant to do, which is win football matches. And also be covering the World Cup as well. Hopefully England can do something, a little something for the nation, but I'll have to wait and see, innit?
That World Cup, look, No, probably. I think England going to struggle to get out of the group. I'm going to say it.
I got a tenner on them failing.
I think they're going to struggle. I don't believe in this team. I don't. For some reason, for a team that finished semi-final and final of the last two tournaments, we should all be sitting here thinking, you know what, England should be one of the favourites going into this World Cup. I just don't feel it. I just don't feel it. They're going to play 5 at the back against Iran.
Thing is, this team on paper we should all be feeling confident. There's one reason I don't feel confident in Matt Southgate. Also, I think the Heat. I'm going to sound like everything I hate about moaning, but I think the Heat will affect us more than other countries.
Yeah, have you seen them already in training?
Yeah, with those fat water fans.
Yeah, they're all dying just training.
Compare that. Watch the videos of Brazil training and that. It's it don't seem to be bothering them. To us, it looks like it's killing them.
Yeah. I think we will get out of the group. Harry Kane will stat pad. He'll probably get a couple of goals against Iran, a couple of goals against United States, score against Wales. He'll get 5 for the World Cup, probably win the Golden Boot. Everyone will go ballistic. Then you actually look at it and he's like, yeah, he's stat padded. He didn't do anything. Like normal. And I think it's going to be Argentina or Brazil,
Thing is, it's been so long since it hasn't been a European country winning it, hasn't it? It's been, 2002 was the last time?
Yeah, 2002 South American.
Yeah. Last 4 World Cups? Ain't it? It's been owned by Europe, ain't it? And I think look, it's weird, ain't it? Because we should be getting behind this England team, the semi-final and a final of the last 2 tournaments. But the way I look at it is the World Cup, where we got to the semi-final, we played nobody till we got to the semi-final. Let's face it, we had an easy ride. Then got to the semi-final and played a team that's pretty decent, and we just got destroyed easily. Then that team got destroyed by France in the final. And then in the Euros, got to Italy, and we just didn't play. How can you not?
We played for the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, for the first 5 minutes. And then that England team should have won the Euros. I'm sorry. That team at Wembley in their own country should have beaten Italy for the
90 minutes, you mean?
Yeah, they should have won. They should have won for me. And and then we failed yet again. So, and I just don't see. I see for me, you should be getting our best players playing. I want to see a Foden on the pitch. I want to see a Maddison on the pitch. They're England's 2 best creative footballers. Yeah. I don't know if Foden plays. I've got a feeling he's going to go Sterling, Kane, and Saka as his front 3. Which, if that's the case, and Foden can't get on this pitch, I don't know what we're doing.
My thing is, this is goes back to the Trent debate, and it's if we had a manager who played front foot attacking football, it would get the most out of our team. And then I think you'd have more of a place for players like Trent, who I think in the current way England play, there's not really a place for him because you lose 90% of what's good about his game going forward and the progressive side of his game. That's why I think Trippier, for the way Southgate plays, is the better right back.
He's more all-rounded, yeah.
But I do think...
Well, it's like Roberto Carlos said, didn't he? Trent's his favourite fullback. If Trent was Brazilian, he would be the right back for Brazil. I don't think there's a question about that. I know they've got good defenders, obviously, but they like that flair. They like that attacking flair. They're not worried about it, They control games of football so much that Trent at right back wouldn't be exposed. So, they'd use that flair about him. But we are this is what I don't get about England. England have got so much talent. We have got so much attacking talent, but it's built around people like Maguire. He wants Maguire to play. He's hoping he's fit for the World Cup. It just boggles the mind.
The thing is, I wouldn't if you was just to have interest, if you was to play a back 4, who would you be your 2 centre-backs to play?
What 2 centre-backs? Who have we got? I can't even remember the defenders we got. Who did we take?
It's Connor Cody, Eric Dyer.
No.
Harry Maguire.
No.
John Stones.
Yeah.
I'd take Stones. I know he's been...
Would have been Stones and Tomori.
Tomori and Stones would have been my back 2.
That's
That would be my that would be my bet too.
someone who I really like, who struggled a little bit over the last couple of weeks is Tarkowski at Everton. I don't get how Harry Maguire is still getting in the England squad, and someone like Tarkowski isn't. And I think, I think I rate Tarkowski probably a bit too highly, but I think he's absolutely brilliant.
I don't think there's much difference between him and Maguire, personally.
No,
I don't think there's much difference. Look, Maguire don't have to play. Southgate's made this clear. Maguire never has to play for Man United first team for a whole season. He'd still play if he's number one pick for England. We just got to stop.
It's like the old.
We're going to play such a defensive way, and I think we just have too much attacking talent. You know, you got Maddison, who might not be going now. So the rumours is that he's going to call up Harvey Elliott to take Maddison's spot, ain't he, for the England team? So that's the rumours going around right now, which I hope he don't, because I'd rather he didn't. But
the thing with Maddison as well, he's called him up as an attacking midfielder. He hasn't even played. He hasn't even played as an attacking midfielder for over a year for Leicester. He's played as a right winger.
Yeah, I think he only picked Maddison just because of fan pressure. I literally thought him, because before the World Cup squad got announced, there was a lot of rumours that he won't get a picking, was it? And it was like it was
apparently, and this has come from Rob Tanner, who's bang on with Leicester news. Southgate picked him about 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to. I don't even know how it's a hard choice. He's carrying Leicester on his back at the moment.
Yeah, him and Harvey Barnes. Without those two,
he's literally so creative. I don't know about Ram, but if he was available and Liverpool could get him, I'd have him with a beat. You know what I mean? I just think he's so creative. And when you've got players like him and Foden and Saka, you know, these sort of players, you've got to get them all on the pitch. You've got to show their quality. You know, show the world what they got. You've got Bellingham's and Rice. They should be playing. You know, but he's got to go Kane up front on his own, who can't score goals for himself anymore and needs created help. He's got to go Saka on the right, which he should do, because Saka's decent in form at the moment. Sterling's dead, but I've got a feeling Sterling starts games for England. And
it's all going to be what people have done on reputation over form, isn't it?
Yeah. It is, and that's the way we play. That's the way we play, unfortunately. That's why I sort of rate how Germany do it. I rate out, it's all the youngsters Germany bringing into their team, and they ain't. I can guarantee you now, some of them get minutes. They will get them involved somehow, because I think this is the first ever World Cup you can make 5 subs on.
Yeah,
I think you can make 5 subs at this World Cup. So the first ever time.
Isn't it like lockdown? Where we have the water breaks as well, isn't? I'm pretty sure it's like that as well.
Yeah, you got to have water. I mean, it's going to be like 80. I love it. I was watching ESPN FC last night, and Frank Leboeuf was talking about it, because he played in Qatar for a couple of years, didn't he? And he was talking about the weather, how hot it is, and he's saying, yeah, in the winter it's not so hot. It's like 80s and 90s. And it's like, that's fucking boiling. What are you on about? He's like, yeah, it's like European summertime weather, which is like 80s and 90s. I was like, that's ridiculously hot. The reason football ain't played in the summer, that's still hot. But obviously in their summertime, it's like 120, ain't it, as a high? So impossible to play with. So yeah, I mean, you guys looking forward to the World Cup, or think I can't be asked, but it's football, so I'll watch it anyway.
That's basically where I'm at.
I'd rather. A bit different. It just seems a bit different this Winter World Cup. It's not that same energy as a Summer World Cup. I don't know. I look forward to watching it, but it's not the same.
Do you reckon players are going to be fitter? Because obviously after a full season, players' legs are a bit tired or a bit dead. They've had a hard season. Then you get a couple of week break, and then they go to a World Cup in the summer. This one, it's going to be sort of like you're still in the middle of a season. So are players actually going to be fresher than they usually would be?
I don't think so. I think it'll be more or less the same, because I think they'll be worried about if they get a big injury, then they're not going to be.
The World Cup.
They're not only exactly. They're not only going to be out of the World Cup, they'll be out for the season.
Would the Benzema get an injury?
Sorry?
Did Benzema get an injury because he's out of the World Cup?
Yeah, I heard he had to undergo surgery.
Fuck, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. Or Giroud's like this now, and he's like, I mean, who you all got anyway? Who have you all got? Because I want Argentina to win it because if Argentina get to the World Cup final, it would be Messi's 1,000th competitive game. Stars are aligned. Brazil.
I've gone. I know they're not the best on paper, but I've gone Germany. They've always just seemed to got a way in.
Never knock back Germany in a tournament. That's what I've always learned. You know, Germany in tournament football.
Yeah, well, obviously, last tournament was a bit.
They went out of the group. Do you reckon Do you reckon there's going to be a surprise where a big team don't make it out of the group? Because I have this feeling Spain.
I think it'll be England.
I think it's going to be France.
The World Cup voodoo is going to hit.
Yeah, the curse is real. I didn't think it was going to happen with Germany, but it happened.
The curse is real.
The France voodoo is going to happen. I think France are going to get knocked out.
Yeah, Denmark are everyone's dark horses as well, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. And Uruguay. I've seen a lot of people say Uruguay are the dark horses as well.
It's because they got decent forwards. They got the man Nunes, and that's all that matters. Yeah. they got good forwards, but
they got good midfielders. They got Bentancur and what's his name?
They got Valverde, for goodness sake, who's just probably top 5 best players in the world at the moment. They have got a world-class midfield, but yeah, Uruguay could be a dark horses of this as well. Denmark.
What about Portugal?
Yeah, Portugal have got a very talented team.
But their team is good, and everyone knows that their team is good.
But their manager, man, it's their coach. He plays quite dinosaur-like football, don't he? He's
it's
giving them freedom.
It's what you said before, and regarding Ronaldo as well. Everything's geared towards Ronaldo, and at this stage of his career, I think he'll be better being taken out of that team.
Yeah, I mean, with Portugal's young forwards they got, I'd love to see a changing of their forwards in international football. But with Ronaldo, there's the focal point, ain't he? He's going to play, and it's all going to be about servicing Ronaldo. And, you know, look, Portugal could make it. The way the draws happened, Portugal could actually go all the way to the final, depending how the draw works out. Because you could have an Argentina versus Brazil semi-final as well, can't you? Which would be huge. That would be massive. But yeah, I mean, there's so many teams that I just feel like it's going. I feel like Spain are going to go out. I don't know what it is. I think Japan are going to take Spain's spot. I have no idea why.
Thing is, you're not the first person who said that they think Spain's going to struggle either. I've seen a fair few people saying that. They don't have that like aura about them that they had about 5-6 years ago, do they?
No, nowhere near. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you. So G gave me his top 10 players of all time as well that he's seen. 1 is Messi, Zidane is 2, Ronaldo is 3, R9 4, Omri 5, Suarez 6, Iniesta 7, Ronaldinho 8, Neymar 9, and Xavi 10. So he did get Neymar in there. That is G's top 10. I forgot about he gave me that earlier, so I forgot about that. But yeah, that's his top 10. But yeah, look, the World Cup it is. Look, I love World Cups usually, but this one is football at the end of the day. So I'm going to watch it. I do love tournament football. I can't stand international breaks, but I like tournament football, and I'm going to have Qatar and Ecuador on in the background. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be fully invested in a Qatar Ecuador. Is that the worst opening game of a World Cup ever?
Well, who did Russia play?
At least Russia
played Saudi Arabia, but that was entertaining because Russia scored about 7, didn't they?
Yeah, Russia are a decent football team. I mean, Ecuador and Qatar.
And the thing is, we all know it's going to end 1-0 anyway.
You know, Qatar are doing a career, don't you? I'm going to semi-final.
I kind of see it happening. I think Qatar could do something, a little something. You know what? If I don't do it now, you know what? If I speak, I'm in big trouble. I think they can do something though.
Did you hear the rumors?
Donation tax.
You hear the rumors what they've been paying apparently the Ecuadorian team.
That's what I said. Is we all know it's going to be 1-0.
Yeah.
Russia are on steroids. That is true.
Home nations always do well, innit?
The Russians were roided up. That was a great The Russia World Cup was actually a very good tournament.
Yeah, as
That was
well,
one of
with
my
the amount of
favourite World Cups,
negativity.
wasn't
It's
it?
There was a
Yeah,
lot of negativity as well around it before it happened, weren't there? As
yeah. I
well.
mean, being where it was held and all that, Putin and all that stuff. I mean,
I think people were worried about, obviously at the time it was like, I think CSK and Moscow, the fans, the ultras had said some certain stuff, and people were a bit worried that might happen again. But no, it was pretty good.
I liked it. It was a fun tournament, man. Real fun
It was a
tournament.
fun tournament. Obviously, I wouldn't say it's as fun as 2014. I think 2014 was a vibe.
Yeah.
I was a bit mad at the same time, but yeah.
Where was 2014 held?
Brazil.
That Germany.
Brazil,
That's it. The South
20
Africa one was 2010, wasn't it?
2010.
That was the one for me. That was just like proper. That's the first World Cup beat I really remember, and I think everyone's got that sort of like tinted rose glasses for that their first World Cup that they really, really remember. I remember bits of 06, but 2010 was the first one that I watched. Like I was glued in front of the telly watching game after game after game.
Yeah, my first World Cup was 1990, but I weren't into it. I knew it was on. I knew it was a World Cup, but I didn't know how important it was. But I watched it. You know, my real first, one I got into that I watched every game with, taped it on VHS and all that. So I kept it. It was the '94 World Cup in America, and then on. But yeah, I love World Cups. Have they lost their appeal a little bit? Maybe because of club football, but once it starts, I suppose we'll all get into it. But I think there will be some surprises and shocks. Qatar could do a career, as we said. One of the I think Belgium are in trouble as well. I think Belgium are in trouble this World Cup as well. I haven't got them going out. I've got them really struggling to get out of their group. I think they've just they're like England. They had their generational talent. They've achieved nothing, and now they've come to the end of it, really, ain't they? They've really come to the end of it, and I think this is their last go at it. But I think they're going to struggle as well. I think Spain might struggle. France, their midfield's a bit weak. No Kante, no Pogba. I think is there's too much pressure on Camavinga and Tchouaméni. Far too much pressure. And how Rabiot is in the World Cup, I have no idea. That's a terrible player.
Don't forget all their injuries as well. It's just like
I think there's too much pressure on Mbappe as well to be the world star at this World Cup as well.
Yeah, I can't see them doing anything, in my opinion.
I just look at Argentina and Brazil, and I think they probably got the deepest squads. I think this is actually Argentina's best all-round squad for years as well. Last few World Cups, they just rely on Messi too much. But if you look at their goalkeeper, defense, midfield, attack, they got everything.
You could play a 4-2-3-1. They've got obviously Lautaro Martinez. They've got Messi. They've got Rodrigo de Paul. They've also got Enzo Fernandez. They've got Lisandro Martinez, Emiliano Martinez as well. They've got some decent players, man. They've got some good players. Very good players. They've got Cunha. Who knows? I think this is the best squad that they've had in quite a bit of time. 2014 is a bit of a shout though, because 2014 they had Lavezzi, Messi, Di Maria. I know Higuain was there, but less we talk about Higuain, the better. But Mascherano.
It's Higuain who missed the goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, he missed an open goal.
Yeah, because that would have won them a World Cup, wouldn't it? I remember that. Yeah,
I remember that as well.
Yeah, that's madness.
And that was a goal. That was a goal that Messi set up. That was a chance Messi set up.
That's right. Is it in line for Messi to win the World Cup? Because that would be amazing. I know a lot of people want the Portugal-Argentina final, don't they?
I would love an Argentina-Brazil final, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I think they can only meet in the semi, though, can't they? Unless
that's if Brazil finish second.
That's if only Brazil finish. What is it?
Argentina finish second.
If one of them have to be runner-up to meet in the final, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
That would be the best
final. I don't
final.
think it's going to happen.
No, it's got to be a semi probably. But this guy could win the World Cup. James Bond here. Look at that beautiful man. Look at him. Look at him. Right, guys. Thanks so very much for joining us today. Thank you. We do appreciate it. Sorry, my man. Go back. I'll put it all on Twitter in a minute as well. And go back and watch it. Go back and watch it. It was a fun debate. Fun debate with all our top tens. guys, thank you very much for joining us. I'll put the top 10 in the community tab, guys, so you can all check it out. And yeah, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And enjoy the World Cup tomorrow, starting tomorrow. I'll be back on Monday, guys, for the England-Iran watch-along. And then straight after that, Senegal and Netherlands. So make sure you tune in Monday, guys. Till then,